Okay, let's look at the next one. 7.08 times 5. And I get 35.4 times 10 to the, add my powers, 5th power. But this is not correct scientific notation because this is bigger than 10. So we have to change this to 3.54. So I'm going to move my decimal over one spot. But since I made that smaller, I'm going to make the power of 10 bigger by 1. So 10 to the 6th. So final answer, 3.54 times 10 to the 6th. My last one here, 4.3 times 6.3, and I get 27.09 times 10 to the negative 10th power, negative 7 plus negative 3. Adding the two exponents together. However, this is not proper scientific notation because this is bigger than 10. So we have to change it. So I'm going to move my decimal one spot for 2.709. But I got to come over here then and add 1. So on my power, negative 10 plus 1 is negative 9. Okay, so these are the 3 types of things you will have to do with scientific notation. Convert from standard to scientific, convert from scientific to standard, and do multiplication, leaving the answer in scientific notation. Okay? Some questions? Okay, make sure you have your calculators out for this next part, because using your calculator correctly is going to be really important as we're going through these. You probably have worked with this before and not even realized what you've done. You've probably done the simplified part of it. We're going to talk about geometric sequences. These are popular standardized test questions. You might see something like this next Wednesday. A geometric sequence is a series of numbers with a common ratio between them. Remember that a ratio is simply a fraction. Okay? The common ratio is found by, now this is what you're going to have to know how to do, found by dividing any term. So pick one of the terms, obviously as I finish the definition here, not the first term, but pick any term and divide it by its previous term, or the one in front of it. I personally always just take the second one divided by the first one, but you could take the third divided by the second, or the fourth divided by the third. It doesn't matter. Any term and divide it by the previous term. Please leave all answers in fraction form. Okay? So, for this first, and we're going to build on this. We're going to find a ratio, then we're going to do something else, then we're going to do something else. Okay, so we're going to build on this concept. So my ratio for this one, my R, is the second term divided by the first term, or the third divided by the second, whatever you want to pick. And you punch that in your calculator, you're going to get 0.5, but make it a fraction. 1/2. So my common ratio is 1/2. In my second example, my ratio is any term, I take the second one, divided by the previous term, so in this case 9. And if I punch that in my calculator, I get an awful decimal. Make sure you know on your calculator how to convert a decimal to a fraction. If you don't, now is the time to let me know that. So when you take 3 divided by 9 on your calculator, you're going to get 0.33333 repeating and be able to convert that to 1 over 3. Even if you know that that's what it is, some of them aren't going to be as obvious. Question by anyone on how to get that on my calculators? Yes? Do you have the 0.333 on there? Did you do your 3 divided by 9? Okay. Now go to your green button, and then y equals at the top, and then number 4. Enter.
Let me show that.
Do you have the decimal in your calculator?
Wait.
Do you have the decimal in your calculator right now? Okay, do your 3 divided by 9. Okay, now go to your green button, and then y equals, which is at the top right under the window. And it's option 4. Yes? Your options are you, did you use it before? You've used the fraction button before. All right. Second example. Find my R. Third example. Find my R. Any number. -4 divided by the previous one, 1, and I get -4. So your R value can be a fraction. Your R value can be an integer. Your R value can be positive. Your R value can be negative. Any combination of those things. Okay? Any number divided by the previous term. Okay. We're going to build on this. Questions on that first. I'm going to build a little bit here. Okay, this is the kind of question you may have seen before and done before. And you just kind of mentally figured it out without knowing how to use it, the formula. Okay, you just looked at it and found a pattern, because that's what a sequence is. We're going to find the next 3 terms in the sequence. Some of them are more obvious than others, but to make it really simple, to do this, we're going to find our R value. So our R for this first one is going to be 20 over 10, which is 2. So that means that we are multiplying a number in our sequence by 2 to get the next number. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. 40 times 2 is 80. So then I'm going to take my 80. I'm going to go to my calculator and do this real fluently. So if you listen carefully on your calculator, take your 80 times 2. Enter. Don't go any further yet. And you get 160. 160 is currently stored in your calculator. So just go times 2. Don't have to repeat the 160. And you get 320. And then times 2. You don't have to repeat the 320. It's 640. And then there's my next 3 terms. Next question. What is my R value? My R is equal to any number, so 21, divided by the previous number, -7, so I get -3. So that means I'm multiplying the number by -3 to get the next number. So I'm going to go to my calculator. -63 times -3 equals 189. Again, that's stored in the calculator. So now just times -3. negative 567 times negative 3, 1,701. Okay, on my next question, you should be playing along with me on your calculators. 100 divided by 200. Any number divided by the previous term. 1/2. Please use 1/2 as we go through this question. Even though it's a good decimal, if it were not a good decimal, I want to make sure you can use your calculator with the fraction. So I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to take 50 times 1/2. To input 1/2, I use my alpha y equals number 1. And I get 25. Times 1/2. And I should get 25 over 2. Times 1/2. And you should get 25 over 4. Yes? The answer to that would be, it depends. This particular question would make good decimals, so I don't care if I get a decimal, but some questions do not make good decimals, so I would 100% want fractions. Okay? Okay, my last one before I go to our formula. My ratio. Any number, I always take the second, divided by the previous number, the first in this case, and I think it's negative 4. And I get negative 4. So that's my ratio. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to start with my 4,096 times negative 4. And I get negative 16,384. That number is stored. Times negative 4. 65,536. Times negative 4. And my third one is negative 262,144. Definitely want a calculator. Okay, some questions there.